The following program is brought to you by Wightman TV and Bruce Telecom.
Hi, and welcome to this month's edition of What's Happening here in North Perth. We've been very fortunate to be able to continue the series of Mental Health is Everyone's Business because of all the organizations, businesses, and agencies that have come forward wanting to tell their story or talk to us about their services that they offer to the general public or to anybody that seeks just a little bit more information. So today we're going to be sharing with you a few more services in North Perth that you might be able to reach out to. I hope you enjoy the content. I'm with Brittany Doing. She's a youth counselor for Choices for Change, and we're at LDSS, and I feel like I'm back in school. It's been a long time, Brittany. Today, we'd like to talk a little bit about Choices for Change, the position you're with, and how it got started in Listowel.
Okay. So a few years ago, probably about 8 to 10 years ago, the North Perth Family Health team partnered with Choices for Change and decided that it would be such a huge benefit to the community to have a youth counselor service the youth from ages 12 to 24 in Listowel. So I am new into Listowel, this community, as of this year. And it's been a wonderful transition for me. The community is excellent. Everybody's really willing to learn about the resources and make referrals. So in that capacity, it's been phenomenal. Choices for Change does have a youth counselor in every high school. Listowel is a little bit special in the sense that the Family Health team has allowed for this position to be in Listowel full-time. So I am coming to the high school 4 to 5 days a week. So it's pretty awesome.
That's wonderful, and that's maybe where we can talk a little bit about the umbrella for Choices for Change. It's not really, which is new to me, student implemented. It's more so teachers, family, providing names, coming to you, asking for information?
Yeah, so in terms of where I get my students from, a large portion of it comes from teachers. They're frontline. They work mostly with these students, and they are very, very skilled at recognizing early warning signs, mental health and addiction issues. The other place actually is peers, so friends of friends of friends. A lot of these young people start building a relationship with me and refer their friend, and that is really neat because that's how word of mouth in the school does allow for my caseload to grow in a positive way. The other way is community service providers. So I work very closely with Gabrielle Hershey and Lori Erb at the North Perth Family Health team. They make referrals all the time as well. Same with Brienne. She's from the Perth District Health Unit. So we all work in collaboration as well with Officer DeConing. So those service providers that are in the school as well as outside of the school, so here on Perth Center as well, everybody is able to provide referrals. And then the other piece is parents and community members. And I think that Listowel as a community is really trying to be engaged and help our youth and help the community and our future generations. So that is something that is in progress and working, and the parent forum that just happened. I think just seeing the attendance there is really neat to see how many parents want to be engaged and involved and start having those conversations with their young people.
It's providing a lot of information, and
yeah.
Just recently we've been talking with the Canadian Mental Health Association, and they've given us lots of stats.
Yeah.
A lot of them look towards 15 to 24-year-olds that started to engage in either substance abuse or drugs or alcohol. They would even do self-harming. So while they're at a delicate age, and maybe their actions aren't quite understandable, at least there's a source or a resource that people could turn to help aid them in a choice?
Yeah, exactly. I think that there's a lot more resources than what we might know about until you're in need of a resource. And that's one of the things that being in the school is very helpful for, is the teachers will see those warning signs fairly early and connect with one of the service providers here. And being in the high school, you're right there and able to connect with them from 12 to 15, right when they're starting those risky behaviors or experimenting with drugs and alcohol. And to have a service provider here, right, you're able to start developing that relationship, that rapport with them, and create a trusting relationship. So should they need more intense services later in their high school career, they kind of know who to go to.
Yes, and that established relationship is so fantastic. And I love that you mentioned that the community of North Perth, of Listowel, we're here to help our youth to be successful, and we know that they're going to be fantastic young adults who are going to lead their families in the right direction, and it just it's a good starting point to be successful.
Yeah.
Brittany, can you tell us a little bit more about your role within being a youth counselor?
Sure. So first and foremost, it's building relationship. That's number one on my priority list. The second is I always have to assess a readiness for change. So especially with the students who are engaging in risky behaviors or substance use, there's always that level of risk, right? So it's about harm reduction strategies and keeping these young people safe despite what they are actually still going to continue to do. I have students who are really engaged in making changes, and that is when my role changes a little bit. It's more about supporting what their goals are. It's about creating new strategies and new opportunities for them to try different things. So a lot of trial and error conversations with coping strategies, and sometimes it gets into a young person will recognize that their drug use or alcohol use or internet use or gaming use is becoming problematic. And at that point, we do have to do a little bit more of an in-depth treatment counseling. And there might be referrals to residential programs, or there might be referrals to a detox program. So a lot of external referrals that might need to happen. The other guys who I support would be somebody who's impacted by somebody else's addiction. And a lot of the time, how do we engage a family? It's very challenging, especially in my role, that I can't always involve the parents. I can't always involve other people without consent. So sometimes, again, it's just about building that relationship where a youth can kind of have this word vomit and vent to somebody, and somebody who's going to offer suggestions, but also just provide that support in whatever capacity that young person is looking for. So a lot of it is just open conversation and creating dialect for these young kids and providing them with some safer options for coping. And
Brittany, I just had a thought too. I believe it's the school boards across Ontario recognizing suicide in teenagers. Is there a technique that Choices for Change brings to the foreground in the education system?
Well, most of our workers are trained in what's called Safe Talk or Assist. So it is suicide treatment, prevention, and postvention. So we have all these trainings to feel comfortable talking about suicide and asking those questions. And there's no problem for me asking questions in more details about suicide, and I think there's still a level of uncomfortableness for some people about talking about suicide. And the more training that I have, the more equipped and more comfortable I feel having those conversations with those young people. And then, involving the Huron Perth Crisis Line or Huron Perth Center, those are fantastic resources, and the emergency and just knowing that safety plan. So Avon-Maitland District School Board has a document that states, this is the plan, this is what to do. Sometimes it's involving police, sometimes it's calling parents, sometimes it's taking that young person right to the emergency room. So there is a school-wide policy to follow, and we do that as well. So
that's excellent. Well, our segment's all about mental health is everyone's business, and it seems like you're a big part of our puzzle.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, my name is Keira, and I'm with Community of Character. Today we're talking about honesty. And I brought with me today some grade 7, 8 from Mr. Schaefer's class at Listowel Central, and they're going to talk about honesty.
I think that none of us would be lying if we said that we've lied, at least at one time or another. People lie. Most people do every day. Sometimes to get out of something, to make yourself look good, to avoid awkward moments, to make sure that you don't get embarrassed, and a lot of the time, people lie to be nice. Just because everybody does something does not mean it's right. I was raised taught that 2 wrongs don't make a right, no matter what situation you're in. As I stated before, many people lie to be nice. I've often had it when somebody gets a new haircut or something and they ask me if I like it. Sometimes I don't like it, but I say I do because I don't want to hurt their feelings. But it's still wrong because that person is going to end up being told that their haircut isn't that good at all at one point or another, and they're going to know that you lied. School is a very difficult place to be completely honest all the time. You could be getting in trouble and feel the need to lie to avoid punishment, or you might say that you need to go get something outside of your classroom, but end up using your technology. Don't forget that your conscience does mean something. If you feel like what you're doing is wrong, chances are that you're right. Listen to your conscience and do your best to ignore those moments and those people who often lead you to the idea to lie. You will find being honest will be so much easier.
I could tell you the dictionary definition of honesty, but everyone's heard it or has their own definition. My definition is to be honest when it's most important. I think it's okay if you tell a white lie here and there, like if someone's hair is done weird and you don't like it, but to tell them that it looks fine anyway. There are many places you can show honesty. One is when you're at a sporting event. If you're playing baseball and the ump calls you out, and it was definitely a strike or the other person touched the base first, then don't go off complaining that the ump stinks and that they need to find a new ump. Just try again and be honest to yourself. Another person are umps and refs. If you know someone is out or needs a penalty, then give it to them or get them out. You have to make honest calls. The last person is coaches and fans. Just like the players, if someone is out or something you don't agree with happens, then either keep it to yourself or just agree, and because you're not going to make a difference anyway. Another place is if you're out on the street and you're walking and you see someone drop money or any valuables out of their purse or bag or pocket. You should be honest and pick it up and give it to them and not put it in your bag and pretend like nothing happened. Another way is on the street and you see someone you think looks nice and it looks like they took time out of their day to do their hair or find the perfect outfit. Why not be honest and nice and compliment them? Being honest has many forms like talking or just actions, and sometimes the truth does hurt. There could be a different definition that you have saying that you always have to be honest, and telling a white lie is wrong, and telling someone that their hair is bad when it is bad. If you prefer telling them that, then it could hurt them, but some other person could tell them that in the end, so that's completely up to you.
Being honest at home is one of the most important factors of life. A little white lie here and there never hurt anyone, but as soon as you start telling big lies, it can become a problem. Your home is where your family lives. Why would you be dishonest with the people who love you and care about you? Why would you take the time to make up a lie when you could simply tell the truth and they'd still love you? Why go out of your way to make a situation harder than it needs to be? Honesty is always the best policy, especially when you're around the people who raised you and spend all their money on you. Lying will never get you in a good position, no matter what the circumstances are. You can't live your life lying to the people you love. It's not a good way to live. Block out all kinds of negativity in your life and make yourself happy.
Thank you, girls. That was great. Honestly, I think you did a great job. 2 more things. One is the character challenge. The character challenge is really think about the question, how are you, and answer honestly. Don't forget the character run is coming up on May 28th. Come out and run with us. For more information, go to our webpage, communityofcharacter.ca. Have a great and honest day.
Hi, I'm Maribeth Boshart. Just an average Joe around the North Perth area. I live in Atwood. I just want to share a little bit about my journey with mental health. Just recently, this past year, I took part in the Craving Change workshop that's offered at the North Perth Family Health Team. Yes, I do work there, but I also took part in the program thinking the more I heard about it, the more it really spoke to me. Having been a dieter since 12, off and on, it's been quite a journey for me. And just wanted to share a little bit about the Craving Change program and how it kind of changed what went on in my head. The program is not a diet program. We don't talk about food. We don't talk about healthy choices. We don't talk about exercise. We talk about why we eat. And that was kind of an intriguing thing for me in the beginning. And as I looked through the materials, because I handle them all the time for the clinician that runs it, it became very apparent that I had to take this program. I've been involved in diet programs off and on for 30 plus years, and always gained weight back, and it's very frustrating. So just decided this was the time for me to do this. So I signed up for it, came out to the programs, and both the dietitian and the mental health worker, Lori and Heather, were excellent at opening up our thinking to look beyond what's in our fridge and our cupboard and start looking in what's going on in our heads when it comes to stressful times, why we eat. For me, certainly when I'm under pressure, feeling sad, feeling tired, I will eat. It doesn't matter whether I'm hungry or not, I will eat. And usually the wrong stuff. So I'm a carbs girl, and so that's where I head. And it was kind of neat to be able to look at the reasons behind it. And through that program, I discovered that perhaps I needed further counseling just to look at some of the wrong ways of thinking from my past. Certainly, I grew up in a home where food was abundant, and you know, if you fell and scraped your knee, your mom would pick you up, put a Band-Aid on your knee, and sit you down for a snack. You went to family gatherings, and what was there? Lots of food. Never a shortage. And so growing up surrounded by food, it seemed like a natural choice to go to that when I needed some comfort, some just soothing, perhaps. And through this program, I learned that there are different avenues. Certainly those stressful times, I found out that if I just settle myself in a chair and listen to my favorite music, would help me sort through that stuff. And even just spending time in my sewing room and making quilts for my grandchildren or something for somebody really helped work through those difficult times. And I didn't turn to food, and it was kind of a neat discovery. But like I said before, I did realize I needed further counseling to figure out why I was doing that, and really benefited from several weeks of just some intense work. And I believe coming out of that, my ways of thinking have changed. Certainly coming out of the Craving Change workshop itself made me feel better about myself, that I wasn't broken, just was making some bad choices for wrong reasons, and that I had the power to be able to change that. And that was a real breakthrough for me. it wasn't until lately that my brain is caught up with what I learned in the workshop, and certainly have got some new views on what I eat, when I eat, how much I eat. I'm not dieting anymore. I'm making life-changing decisions so that I can be around for my grandchildren and hopefully great-grandchildren, and to enjoy life in a healthy body instead of one that's full of aches and pains and not functioning very well because of bad choices. So I just encourage everyone who's listening that there are lots of avenues out there for working through the tough times, and certainly our workshops here are helpful, but we are surrounded by many options in this town to help us work through those things. So that's it.
I'm really pleased to spend some time with Kevin Nethercott, the director of the Youth for Christ Center here in Listowel. Kevin, do you mind sharing with us, explaining to the audience a little bit about your role here?
Sure. I've been the director here for about 12 years. I've worked at Youth for Christ for 15 in North Perth, and really enjoy the opportunity to work with students. It's my passion, and over the last 8 or 9 years I've been able to work with the staff in our community as well as 5 or 6 communities in our area. And so my role, sometimes you'll find me sitting at my desk doing paperwork, but most of the time, and it's a frustration of many people, they can't find me. So my cell phone is my office, and sometimes I'll be at the high school working with students, helping coach, do things like that. Sometimes I will be just talking one-on-one with a student, whether it be at the high school or one of the feeder schools where we do some mentoring. And then also working with our staff. So in Listowel here, currently we have myself and 3 other staff. And so working with them, and sometimes our role is fundraising because we are a nonprofit charity, and so all the resources that make this place possible come from our community, and so there's a lot of different opportunities that come that I'm doing that kind of thing. So yeah, it's a lot of different things that make up what I do, but what drives it is the opportunity to work with kids and be an encouragement in their lives, mentally, emotionally, socially, spiritually. That's kind of what drives it. So, yeah.
We're going to just talk and remind people about the stages of the beginning. The upper deck. Some people refer it to as upper deck.
Yes. So back in '98 when this happened, I wasn't here. But Frank Braun and a committee of people were responsible for getting it going. And the franchise name for the Youth for Christ youth centers in our area was Upper Deck at the time. And there's still a number of them that would be known as the Upper Deck. When we moved to this location in 2003, after a while, the students continued to mention that this looked like a big blue box, this building at 280 Wallace South. So we went with that and changed the name to the Blue Box Cafe. Now, strangely enough, we've had people drop in here thinking this is a coffee shop, but it isn't a coffee shop, and they found that out. But anyways, it's set up and decorated like a cafe downstairs, and we use it for lots of different stuff. So.
Yep, so the youth come in, they're very comfortable and familiar with the surroundings, and they have a safe place to come to.
Yes, yeah. So the couple of programs that we do during the week where they would come, most of the drop-in type programs that we do, most of the kids who come would be junior high age, so grade 5 to 9, 10, somewhere in there. And we always have some trained volunteers who are here with our staff, and it is a safe place to come. And we work with those kids, and we get to know them, playing games, working with them on different activities. So that happens a couple nights a week, and then we have a supper club that happens once a week out of that group, and we have students who come and make supper together and sit down like a family and eat together, which is something that's really important to us. And a lot of kids maybe don't have that at home. So anyways, that's something that we do, and the facility is kind of suited to that kind of thing.
Absolutely. Kevin, does kids come here on their own? How do they find you? Or is it a referral program? Is it friends talking about it? How has this grown to be what it is?
I would say it's a little bit of everything. Some people find us because they look it up in the phone book. I've had parents call who moved to town. So we've had people come because of that. We've had people come because we've talked about it at the school, at some of the feeder schools. And, you know, word of mouth. So people come for lots of different reasons, yeah.
Once they get to meet you, they're kind of...
or staff, because I'm not down in the youth center anymore. I used to be, but... Gertie and Corey and our volunteers are down there, and so they get to know them and yeah, continue coming back. So
that's excellent. We're kind of blessed to be able to have so many programs available in North Perth and Listowel that kids do have a place to turn to, and we hope they continue to reach out and ask for help.
Absolutely, and I think the biggest thing as far as being a support and encouragement to youth is being in proximity with them. So a few of the things we do to do that are in this building, but we get to go out into some of the schools in the community, and it's a real privilege to come alongside other things that are happening and be in proximity with them, get to know them, and be able to support them in what other people are doing too. So I think our community is good for bringing people together and giving students opportunities, and so we're just really happy to be a part of that.
Kevin, is there a cost to the programs that you offer to the youth?
No, there's no cost to students. Of course, we do take trips and stuff like that, so there would be a cost when we do camping and different trips we do in the summer. But we often get local people, businesses, who will donate funds to make it possible for kids to go, so that we never have it a situation where money's an issue if we are doing some kind of an event. But to come here from week to week, there's no cost to kids, so that's something that we're excited about.
Yeah.
And like I said, there's a lot of people that make that possible, so
it's a great community, isn't it?
Thank you to the community. Yeah.
That's terrific. And as we continue to keep making positive change in people's lives, yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Thanks, Kevin.
You're welcome.
Well, I hope you enjoyed this month's edition of What's Happening here in North Perth. If you'd like to know anything more about the North Perth Chamber, feel free to go on to our website at www.npchamber.com, where you'll see a list of coming events and activities that are going on that maybe entice you to come and shop, dine, and discover North Perth. I encourage everyone to think about how mental health is everyone's business, and to take a few moments to make a difference in someone's life just by being there. Thanking our partners in their commitment to the Chamber, supporting our endeavors towards business prosperity and a stronger community. Our partners are Listowel Technology, the North Perth Municipality, Wightman Telecom, Ideal Supply, the Listowel Banner, Cherry Bus Lines, Canada Trust, Libro Credit Union, Conceptual Pathways, and Right Bite Orthodontics.
The North Perth Chamber of Commerce is gearing up for their annual Home and Lifestyle Show, being held at the Listowel Arena the first weekend in May. It's free admission Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We will have over 70 booths that are available for a large variety of vendors to show off their products and services to an expected crowd of over 1,000 people. The arena is already decorated and lined with colorful curtains and carpeting to enhance the atmosphere for all. Visitors can try their luck and unlock the door to win a prize from the Garden of Gifts. Women, men, children, families, there is something for everyone at our home show.
The preceding program was brought to you by Wightman TV and Bruce Telecom.